The student class had gotten so big they had to install mobile homes outside the original space. The move would be made in 1985, while the school was also produced its first Joe Kubert Presents Folio, number 1, on March 1984, which featured strips by the students at 50 cents apiece, along with a list of the JKS graduates who had moved into the marketplace. While not listed, Adam and Andy had moved into professional comic book work as well, helping DC revive Doc Savage from the pulp magazines, while also switching penciling and inking chores between issues doing so. They both got married as well during this time, with Andy, like his sister, on the grounds of the original of Baker Mansion, the original site of the JKS. It always surprised Joe Kubert that 2 of his kids would follow in his profession, as he never hid how hard it was or glamorized his work in the comic book industry. To Joe, it was nothing short than a miracle. Sadly, Joe's longtime friend Norman Maurer died of cancer on November 23, 1986, in Los Angeles. After leaving the comic book business, Maurer moved on to TV producing and writing, notably helping make the Scooby-Doo and Richie Rich cartoons in the 1970s. JKS established a scholarship in his name, at which the second-year students are awarded $1,000 toward their tuition. Norman's widow, Joanne, and their sons administered it, with each winner's name placed on the Norman Maurer commemorative plaque, which is still prominently displayed in the school. Another sad moment in Joe Kubert's life, this time professionally, Sergeant Rock was canceled at DC with issue number 422 on July of 1988. At this point, though, Joe Kubert was only doing the covers with his son Andy, even penciling some recent issues, but was no longer the editor. For the last issue, a story about Sergeant Rock helping with the D-Day drive runs was produced. It was written by Robert Kanier, one of his last comic book scripts, with Joe penciling, while his son Andy lettered and inked, while Adam colored the story, making it a true family affair. Despite the cancellation of Sergeant Rock, Joe Kubert remained as busy as ever, from his comics work to his school, and he soon got even busier. At the request of Rabbi David Shalom, Pape, Kubert did some cartoons for the Mosaic Comic Times, which featured 2 pages a month of Yaakov and Isaac. Kubert tried to beg off, though Dr. Pape was able to convince him to do just 1 or 2 pages a month. Hard to say no to a rabbi. With this work, it led to a renewal of Joe Kubert's Jewish face and would later be recollected in 2004. Back at JKS, Joe Kubert created a correspondence course with his old friend Bob Bean, who has since become a film producer, including helping develop The Natural starring Robert Redford. He also started making Joe Kubert's World of Cartooning while publicizing the schools at conventions. It was during these conventions in 1989 that Joe Kubert reconnected with Harvey Kurtzman over their old artwork, with Joe pointing out panels that got him fired from EC and Harvey agreeing with him, still criticizing Kubert's art after all these years. Joe Kubert also reconnected with Irvin Rustmagic, who introduced him to the European comics. The 2 families would visit each other while trading correspondence, and Joe and Muriel even went to Mostar, Bosnia to visit Irwin and his family. Together, Joe and Irwin developed Abraham Stone in 1991 for the graphic novel Country Mouse City Rat, published by Malibu Comics Platinum Editions. An early 1900s tale of revenge, it would be Joe Kubert's first adult comic book. In the story, a young man seeks out revenge against a financial magnate known only as Mr. Pullman, who murdered his mom and younger brother. After completing his revenge, Joe Kubert would write 2 more stories about Abraham Stone in 1995 for Epic Comics, with Radix Malorium, in which Stone travels to early 1900s America, where he gets involved in the movies, and The Revolution, where he meets Pancho Villa as part of the 3-book epic. Despite some historical inaccuracies, such as the dates of the Great War to Charlie Chaplin's The Gold Rush movie, the books were well received and sold well, at least overseas. Kubert was planning more adventures with the character, but was soon distracted when his classic character, Thor, came up again. Fans have been clamoring for Thor to return for years, and Carl Potts offered Joe Kubert the option to do the series at Marvel in 1992 as part of a heavy-hitting series of creator-owned books. Joe Kubert changed Thor from fighting dinosaurs to anthropomorphic savages in a 4-part miniseries, in which he rescues a beautiful woman from them while pondering his morality in this savage world, resulting in him seeking revenge against Klar, the man who killed his mother and father and seized control of their clan. In 1994, Joe Kubert was interviewed by Gary Goff for the Comics Journal in issue number 172 of November, where he found themselves defending publishers against Dave Sim, who would believe they were all out to cheat comic creators out of their money. Kubert countered that while they were all businessmen, many like Paul Levitz and Jim Shooter were good people wanting for everyone to succeed. During this same interview, Kubert also stated he preferred drawing over teaching and non-superhero stories to superheroes. He also addressed how some people thought he was an angry person, with Kubert stating it was just his self-confidence. His son Andy called his father the most self-assured person he ever met. It will be something that puzzles anyone who knew Kubert, even his students at JKS, as he always stated his door was open, but few would venture in fear of him. Meanwhile, his sons Andy and Adam were soon getting tons of work at Marvel when many of their top artists left to form Image Comics, so they started getting to work on Ghost Rider and Wolverine and later the X-Men stories. Joe Kubert worked at Marvel himself doing the Punisher War Journal, a character who was a perfect fit for Kubert's art style, in 1994 with writer Chuck Dixon, which gave Kubert the opportunity to try computerized coloring for the first time. Kubert always enjoyed trying new technologies. Also, per Kubert, he only accepted the job at Marvel if he could do everything, from pencils, inking, lettering, and coloring, with only the script by Dixon. His personal life was shining as well, as he and Muriel were becoming grandparents to numerous grandchildren. Having 5 kids does pay off. However, they started to receive faxes from friends across the ocean who were going through a far more distressing time. And we will leave you here for now, but when we return, we will get through what those events were in Europe that will not only have an effect on Joe Kubert's personal life, but also his professional one, and will lead to arguably one of his greatest works he ever would produce. And now it is October 3rd, 2019, time for the favorite comic book of the week. Batman, number 80, by Tom King and John Romita Jr., that finds Batman and Catwoman beginning their plan to take back Gotham City from Bane and the Thomas Wayne Batman, as they dispatch each of his various rogues gallery with ruthless efficiency, all while they know that Damian Wayne / Robin, Batman's son, is being held hostage. Great issue that really ups the stakes. It's really great to see Batman back in full force and taking out his various rogues gallery in the classic Batman fashion. His way he takes down Hush is a prime example. While also upping the stakes and pointing out that, Damian is a hostage and there's nothing that Batman can do to save him. He has a long gaming plan, so Batman, he always has a trick up his sleeve, so we'll see where it goes. Best of all, John Romita Jr., one of my personal favorite comic book artists, is doing the art in here, and he's always in a fantastic Batman, and this issue is no exception. He just does a great, gritty Batman, fantastic action and storyteller, and hopefully maybe he'll become a regular Batman artist. That'll be a great listen. And since with issue number 85, that'll be ending up Tom King's Batman run, this looks to be a nice concluding story arc, so let's see where it goes. And with that, we'll be concluding this episode. Oh, I do want to give a shout out. My friends over at Thunder Talk finally released a new episode, so go check it out with Dan Klink and Adam Weston and the whole crew over there. And I also have this great interview with Mark McRae, who wrote this fantastic book, The Best Saturday Morning of Our Lives, about the history of the Saturday morning cartoons, and along with other Dragon Con recap stuff, and a great listen. And until then, go out and enjoy yourself a good comic book.